Hello and welcome to Trust Your Glitter podcast. This is Christy and I am here with the astrology of May 6th through May the 12th. Technically, I wish I could say this is an extended horoscope, but I want to hold off on talking about next week and just kind of mention that, this week is kind of an extending energy that takes us from that conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus on the 20th of April and leads us into this week's energy surrounding the Taurus new moon. So I have the astrology chart of May 7th new moon, which is at 11:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm looking at the chart, but know that how I'm viewing this week astrologically, instead of looking at things from like day to day, I'm looking at this from the fact that this new moon is kind of our assignment of the week. So we don't have any transits other than this new moon of the week. There are aspects that happen before and after, but the way I'm going to look at it is the assignment of the new moon chart brings those aspects in to our frame of reference. So I want to point that out. I also want to point out on May the 6th, there is a conjunction, an alignment of Mercury and Chiron that's really important, but it influences our new moon. So Mercury at 21 degrees of Aries and Chiron at 21 degrees of Aries is asking us to bring the heat, bring the fire, bring the passion, and speak our truth, even if it's something that, say, in the past we were dismissed on, or something that maybe was traumatic or took our power in the past. We're being asked to speak on that. So I think it's very symbolic that also like there's a literal hip-hop battle, rap battle going on right now. And, I looked at both Kendrick Lamar and Drake's natal charts, and I found it very interesting because we're watching and witnessing kind of in pop culture this very strong display of this energy where there's Mercury, Chiron, the North Node, Mars and Aries, kind of bringing this energy up and bringing things to light. Because what Mercury right now is trying to get us to do, especially with previous conjunctions to the North Node in the last few weeks, we've had this shedding light on what has been hidden for so long. And so I think looking at the battle between Kendrick Lamar and Drake is a perfect example of exactly what's supposed to be right now. Speaking truth to power. And so we do open up the week with that conjunction, but it influences our week. It influences our new moon. And our new moon, we have this energy of fire, passion in the sky with Mars, the North Node, Chiron, and Mercury, all still in Aries. And then this week we are in the season of Taurus. Venus, the Venusian goddess, is in Taurus. The sun, the new moon, and Uranus and Jupiter. So there is this influence that's extending. Like I'm going to say it's an extension. It's a continued education of chaos in the sky. Yet in the earth sign of Taurus, so the new moon is at 18 degrees of Taurus, Uranus is 22 degrees Taurus, and then Jupiter is 25 degrees Taurus. To me, all signs are pointing to preparing for Gemini season and preparing for this upcoming transit of Jupiter into Gemini, where information is going to just fly off the handle. So if we think it's crazy now, I think that the transit when we're literally having the great expander enter the sign, of the gossip artist, So I think as we look at this new moon, this is an assignment of, again, I'm going to repeat from episodes ago, expecting the unexpected. Uranus is the planet of chaos, the planet of seismic activity. So I also want to say, continue to look at earthquake activity. Continue to see where the revolting, I don't know if I can say that word with AI, is taking place. And also noting that there is, so I also want to talk about Neptune. So Neptune is at 29 degrees of Pisces, which is the anaretic degree. And has been kind of moving through the anaretic degree, which means the final degree of Pisces. So the other thing I want to also look at is continue to look at our oceans. And I'm just going to keep saying like seismic activity in water. And I don't know what that's going to mean, but just really kind of pay attention to weather. Weather is upfront and personal for us right now. Now, Saturn in this new moon is in a lovely position to the new moon. Saturn is in what's called a sextile, which is like a friendly connection to this new moon energy, which is, new moons are always about planting new seeds and abundance. But this is the reason I'm doing a late night record, because I just had to kind of sit with this chart and really think it out, because its manifestation with this new moon is not extremely grounding. Even though there's so many planets in Taurus, and even though Venus is in Taurus, and the energy of Taurus really wants to ground and really be taken care of. But there are so many things still being uprooted. And with Saturn sextile to this, I think it's like, appreciate the chaos now so that in the future you can have a full garden, have a full, something. Because Venus loves pleasure and happiness and, good food, and Taurus is the sign of economy, money, and I continue to look at, stock markets, world markets, financial markets, and in this case, this rocking economic system is still going to have a seismic energy within it, because Uranus is shaking up systems. And Saturn in this case, I don't know if the word receptive is the best word for where Saturn is in this connection, but Saturn's listening. Saturn's receiving energy, receiving data, receiving news, receiving things, receiving prayers, I guess, related to what is trending. I'm talking about more world markets, financial markets. And Saturn, who wants to rebuild, is going to make some decisions. I think Saturn in Pisces is very compassionate, but we're going to have this go from Saturn in Pisces to eventually Saturn in Aries, and eventually Neptune in Aries. So I'm kind of looking at the future of all of this, where this moon is going to evolve us towards, or where this moon wants to take us. And that's why this has been such a hard episode to record, because we're not supposed to feel comfortable with this. We're not supposed to know. We're just supposed to trust that we're manifesting something for the better in our lives. Great moon to put, an altar out towards. It could be an earth altar, but it's definitely something to take note of overall. I think that if I can't push past this point with this chart, I just have to let this chart be. If I want to look deeper into this chart, I would probably say, look out for a possible bonus episode this week. But really, I want to say that let's leave this here. On the 7th, put your intentions towards your physical intentions. Like, what do you want to feel? How do you prefer to go through this planet? Especially with all the data that's being thrown around. How do you truly want to feel in your body? How do you want to truly take care of yourself? It could feel like you're anxious in place. Like, it feels like you need to do something with all the Aries energy, with all that fire in the sky. But with the new moon, with the Taurus energy, the goal is to find mindfulness and stillness in the chaos. And that's the hardest thing to teach. I mean, this whole day, that's all I've been doing. It's like, stay still, and then I feel like I need to check email, and then I feel like I need to create some content somewhere, or I feel like I need to make a plan for something, and I feel like I'm behind, and that's what this whole week is going to do. It's like this, then this, and this, and this. And then the whole world is going to have its own thing. This whole sort of rambunctious energy. Not flying around, but kind of rattling around a little bit. And with Venus, this is the sacred feminine energy too. With Mars, there's the sacred masculine. So there's this very distinct energy between the two, which I think is interesting with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake battle, because I looked at, Kendrick's chart. He is a Gemini sun, Pisces moon, and then Drake is a Scorpio sun, Cancer moon. But Kendrick has an 8th house sun, which makes him very scorpionic, plutonic. And Drake is like a pure Scorpio. He is like a 0-degree Scorpio sun. And then I looked at Kendrick's chart, and his Mercury is right over Drake's moon. So he's literally speaking to his family. And it's just very interesting what we're watching and witnessing, you know, with just an example of this energy where it's just like, you know, there's sacred wounds being put on the table. And there's like a call, you know, to respond. And I personally, when I was thinking like, you know, this is just my personal opinion, but I do think Kendrick Lamar is a light worker. And I think that, you know, with his Gemini sun in the 8th house, he was meant to go through a lot of pain. But with the Gemini sun, he had no choice but to speak about it. And then his Mercury makes him go to these very deep, deep layers. And then his moon, like everything is being transmuted and protected and guided through his Pisces moon. So I just think it's interesting. He's literally calling to Drake to like, hey man, you've got to transmute, transform, and get out of the shadow that you're stuck in. That's at least how I'm interpreting this rap battle. And that's why I love astrology so much, is because it's literally showing up in the natal chart. So it's just a small example of like how we're seeing this, like the energy of this kind of seismic connection with, you know, the new moon, Uranus and Jupiter. Uranus wants to spiritually expand us. Jupiter wants to spiritually expand us. Uranus wants to rattle us out of our old way. Like, get up. Wake up. Remember who you are. Remember why you started this. Remember why you're an artist. Remember why you're a comedian. Remember why you're a singer. Remember why you're a poet. Remember why you're a rapper. Remember why you're a model. Remember why you're a fashion designer. Remember why you're a mother or a father. Remember why you're doing this. Remember why you are a teacher. Remember why you're a healer. That's what this new moon is doing. It's shaking us up. And the old ways are being really, really obstinate. So we're being asked to sit in the middle and sit with both sides and say, oh, this is coming at me from this angle. This is the other response from this angle. And I got to sit in the middle of both. So we're going through kind of a spiritual quest, a spiritual roast battle, so to speak. And thank you so much for listening. I will be back with something. This is not the end of my episodes for the week, but I needed to really think this through. And if you have any questions for me, you can find me online. I'm everywhere. Christy Belich, Trust Your Glitter, and take care.